For years, OmegaPro sold a simple dream to millions around the world. Invest a little money, sit back, watch it grow. They promised returns so high they sounded impossible. Yet the company made it feel believable. Slick presentations, luxury events, and claims of elite forex and crypto trading expertise. The same message repeated everywhere. This was not a scam. This was the future of wealth. OmegaPro described itself as a global investment platform specializing in foreign exchange and cryptocurrency trading. Investors were promised up to 300% returns within 16 months through supposed elite traders and advanced algorithms. To participate, people bought investment packages and were often encouraged to recruit others. Early investors saw small payouts and withdrawals, which became the most powerful promotional tool. Screenshots circulated online. Friends and family joined. Communities, especially in Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, and Europe, poured savings into OmegaPro, some selling property or taking loans. Behind the scenes, there was little to no real trading. Instead, OmegaPro functioned as a classic Ponzi scheme. New money paid earlier investors, creating the illusion of profitability. When recruitment slowed, cracks appeared. Withdrawals became delayed. Accounts froze. And for many, the nightmare began. How much money did OmegaPro steal? According to U.S. prosecutors, at least $650 million in virtual currency was misappropriated. Funds tied directly to investors that were funneled into wallets controlled by insiders. But that number is only the legally traceable portion. Independent reports and victim networks argue the scale was far larger. Some describe a scheme that left a global hole approaching $100 billion, with nearly 3 million investors worldwide. Other sources focus on at least $4 billion in losses in specific jurisdictions, particularly around Turkey, where much of the operation was managed through crypto wallets and shell companies. By 2022, regulators in several countries issued warnings. France and Spain flagged OmegaPro as an unlicensed operation, making unrealistic promises. These warnings barely slowed the company. OmegaPro simply shifted to regions with weaker oversight and heavy crypto adoption. Turkey became a hub. Its limited crypto regulation, quick citizenship programs, and historically slow enforcement created ideal conditions. Executives operated openly from Istanbul, living in luxury villas, driving high-end cars and hosting public events. For victims, this visibility reassured them. If this were a scam, how could leaders live so openly? In the United States, authorities eventually charged key figures, including Michael Shannon Sims and Juan Carlos Reynoso, with wire fraud and money laundering. Investigators alleged the company lied about its trading activity, misrepresented licensing, and funneled investor funds through crypto wallets controlled by insiders. Another central figure, Andreas Attila Szakacs, a Swedish national also using the name Emre Avcı after acquiring Turkish citizenship, was arrested in 2024 along with Robert Velghe, another senior OmegaPro executive. Authorities seized electronic devices, documents, and dozens of crypto wallets believed to contain evidence of massive financial flows. For a moment, it seemed accountability had arrived. Victims hoped arrests would lead to trials, convictions, and the recovery of lost funds. But that moment passed, and silence followed. Despite high-profile arrests, Turkish authorities have released very little public information. There are no widely reported trial dates, no detailed indictments publicly available, and no clear explanation of extradition plans to countries like the U.S., where criminal cases are already proceeding. Victims remain frustrated, and the lack of transparency has fueled suspicion. Why did Turkey move so slowly? Was it regulatory inefficiency, political sensitivities, or simply the complexity of cross-border crypto crimes? Likely all of the above. Turkey's combination of weak enforcement, a booming crypto market, and delayed action made it, effectively, a haven for international fraudsters. Adding complexity, insiders like Abdul Ghaffar Mohaga later presented themselves as whistleblowers, claiming to represent victims, while some accused them of being a former promoter. These disputes fractured victim groups and weakened coordinated pressure on authorities. Meanwhile, much of the money remains untraced. Crypto transactions are difficult to follow once they move through mixers, multiple wallets, and international exchanges. Even if convictions occur, recovering assets at this scale is enormously challenging. The OmegaPro scandal raises uncomfortable questions about modern finance. How could a scheme of this size operate in plain sight? Why were warnings ignored until it was too late? And how many similar operations are active now, learning from OmegaPro's mistakes? At its core, this is not just a story of fraud. It is a story of trust exploited, borders slowing justice, and accountability that remains elusive. OmegaPro promised wealth and freedom. What it delivered was loss, devastation, and unanswered questions stretching across continents. Hundreds of millions, possibly several billions, and in some estimates up to $100 billion were lost globally. For victims, the most pressing question remains: why has no one truly paid the price yet?